It's an exciting day.
Hello, hello, hello.
No, you're doing that police thing again. It's an exciting day.
It is. I'm very excited about tonight.
It's
What's all happening?
a bit random, that, isn't it? It's a bit random. And what people thinking, like, what's
Guess what
happening
I'm do
tonight?
Guess what I'm
What are
doing
you doing?
tonight? Yes, I do.
I don't know if I want. Do I want to know?
It's very exciting.
Does it involve a big group of people?
It does, well, like an orgy.
I was
A
trying to keep
virtual
it
orgy.
suggestive. Oh, okay, well, that's not. People are never going to join our membership if they think we're having a monthly virtual, or a few people might, but there will be a select few.
It's quite
We could
it's
guess who would join. Probably not.
an acquired taste.
That's one way of putting it. So we are now announcing our virtual monthly digital or no event. So the first one, with like workshops and things like that, it's going to be really, really fun. Going to get guests in, workshops in, all sorts of cool stuff. And for anyone who's listening to this podcast, the day it was released, then yeah, on this very day, it's a moment in history. Upon this very day, Sam and Ellie performed the first workshop. Look at I'm doing like
Tonight's the
body movement.
night.
Tonight is the night.
And tonight's going to be, and if you are listening to this at the kind of early part of the day, you can still come and join us.
Yeah.
Are we doing an Ask Me Anything
Well,
business?
because it's the first event. So yeah, these are going to be like monthly workshops or events, really cool things. We're going to try and think outside the box, bring some exciting stuff in. But the first one is obviously a welcome, ask us anything. We'll sort of speak about the membership and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're gonna just a very nice get together. No orgies, I promise.
No, jeez. Good clean fun.
There you go. You wanted something for social media. Job done.
Job done. Boom. Right. So
So, oh,
on
by
to
the
the
way, so there is a link in the show notes and stuff. So if you want to join us, please feel free. And if you're listening to this after the fact, all of those events and workshops that we run will be available in a bank, if you like, in the kind of membership area. And there's loads of other really cool stuff in there as well. There's even a way that you can talk to digital Sam and Ellie to get your questions answered any time of day or night. Who doesn't want that? Um,
mm,
but yeah. All right.
mm,
Awesomeness. What
the
we
dynamic duo. Um, I was just going to say something, now you made me forget. You know, I
that can
was going to say
happen.
something, it was
Can't have been
really
that important.
important.
That's what
Oh
my
no, it
mum.
wasn't. No, it was really important. I wanted to say it's only 12 bucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
12 $12.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money.
So for and for that you're gonna get we like that event, that monthly event that we're gonna do is gonna be worth way more than that on its own. So everything else you get, is a massive bonus. Oh, and there's another really cool thing as well, is that there's a weekly, not monthly, a weekly journal um set of journal prompts so that you can kind of grow with the podcast. So it will be specifically related to that week's podcast. And of course, they'll be there to download as and when you want. They don't time out or anything. So, you can pick and choose the ones that you're interested in to do one of them a month or something like that. But just take a minute with a cup of tea, do some reflecting. And yeah, I've been really enjoying putting them together, actually. It's been really making me think. And it's really cool to kind of have something that summarizes the episode into a few questions to just have a bit of time to just kind of sit and reflect. And even if you're not a writer, you just sit and read the questions and just have a
Yeah.
bit of a think about it. Um, yeah. So yeah, I think it's worth every bloody penny. But we'd love feedback. So if anyone's got feedback, let us know. And I think last week, I'm trying to think last week would have been our first ever podcast that was suggested by someone within the membership.
Mm,
So in a way, you can get your own private podcast as well. So yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
It's very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And thanks to all of the folks that have already got a bum on a seat. We very much appreciate you. We're
Yeah,
looking
lovely.
forward to seeing you at the orgy tonight. Um, bring your
Moving on.
cosmic badgers and your bananas and your
Why
pineapples.
the fuck does everybody? Why are we keep going on about my cosmic badger as if it's as if it's something rude? My cosmic badger, for one, is a lady, and it's on my altar. It's disrespectful.
Oh, dear me. I think that might have been my favorite episode of all time.
I think quite a few people reached out to me about that. Um,
Did
I
they?
love. It'd be funny if we had a pie chart of like where people fall into the like pie chart of a discussion like that. It's like what percentage of people thought that was something funny? Like, 40% of people thought that was funny.
2%
20% of people were
confused.
disgusted. 5% of people stopped following the podcast. I don't know. Who knows? But it's just quite funny.
Mm. The thing that made me laugh was that I think you and I forget what we talk about. And then it's only when somebody reminds us of what
Yeah.
we've been talking about. You're like,
Just get a
oh.
random message of like from someone that's titled Cosmic Badger dot dot dot. And I'm like,
Mm.
what's going on?
Although this does happen, you know the when we coach things like the live alcohol experiment, because there's so much happening in that hour that you're on the live feed.
Yeah.
Somebody will say something and you're talking about whatever, and it's funny gag or whatever goes on, and then you scroll down and you catch up with the feed. So somebody's written something at the time that you said whatever the funny thing was, but then by the time you get to it in the feed, it's like it's gone out of the brain. And so you're looking at the comment like, what the fuck's that all about? And then you have to go down the feed again for somebody to remind you of what
Yeah.
you said. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're like, give me some more context. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, that is true, actually. Yeah. Right.
Right. I
I'm
think we
excited
better
about
talk
this.
about what we actually came to talk about today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be rambling.
It's happened
Uh,
before. We're going to talk
word.
about sober
Sober
travel.
travel. Yeah, because you and I are going to be travel companions, aren't we,
Oh,
soon?
yeah. That'd be
We're
fun. I've
going
got
to
to
be
spend, what is it, 10 hours with you on an aeroplane or something. Be all right, wouldn't it? Sleep for most of it.
no way. I'm going to keep you up. I'm going to
But
be
not on the
like,
way there. On the way back, I will probably sleep. It's funny because that's a very cool entry point, isn't it, to this? All these things we want to discuss around sober travel. But yes, we're going to the US of A to hang out and do some cool shit. So that's going to be fun.
mm,
So yeah,
yeah, very
it's
excited.
a timely discussion.
It is timely because I haven't been on an aeroplane since I went to Vegas when I got absolutely shit faced.
How long ago was that then? Well, over 4 years ago.
Yeah, so it would have been right before COVID. It's when my two friends got married in Vegas, and it was the first time I'd been away from all of the kids. I was a bit there for about 4 days, and the whole thing was it was just filthy drinking for a few days.
Mm.
And yeah, so I haven't traveled since then. And back in the day with my other business, I used to travel pretty much. I would be on a flight every month somewhere, going somewhere. And particularly, I did a lot of long haul. I used to go out to Australia 2, 3 times a year, China and Australia. And so it's kind of been weird not traveling for a long time.
Yeah.
And for sure, I haven't at all. Like I haven't traveled anywhere sober apart from pregnancy. But this is going to be a, what do people call it? A frigging first time. People
I
say
don't
that,
know.
don't they?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit behind on some of the lingo, but that sounds
Well,
that's.
some because I saw that in one of our groups. Somebody's going an FFT, and I'm like, what the hell's that? Frigging first
I
time. I think
reckon
it came
it's
from Mr.
surely
Scott
it's
Pinyard.
surely there's a swear word in that, but
Mm.
it's been, mind you, it's not like Scott to be. Actually, it's funny because I was just about to say I also hadn't done a whole lot of traveling. For someone who'd spent the best part of a decade, about 8 years or so, outside of the UK, always flying, always on trains, always traveling, and then I came back to the UK, and then COVID and all that kind of stuff hit and stopped anybody from traveling or whatever for a while. So yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of sober traveling, but I haven't done a lot of sober traveling over the course of the last few years, other than like within domestic, I suppose you'd call it. That's just a bit of a weird word to use,
Domestic
isn't it? Apart from when I went to see Scott the other week.
the
Um,
other week.
but I am
Well,
excited for you. That's going to be fun.
well, the thing that I'm fully expecting is that there's going to be a bunch of triggers, right? So there's got not I'm not suggesting that I'm going to go off the rails. We were laughing about this earlier. Like, what a time to go off the rails if I did. I'm not. It's not that I'm fearful in any way. What I think practically, I'm just thinking like there's a bunch of neural pathways in my brain that haven't had the
I
opportunity to be exercised
I don't
yet.
know about, but like maybe I'm wrong. But my guess on that is like I just don't think that's going to be your experience, but I might be
Well,
wrong.
well, I tell you what, it's going to be. We can do a podcast while we're traveling. We can kind of document it, can't we?
From
Because
forty thousand feet.
from 40,000 feet. Because it's either going to be like, oh wow, like there's it's like the time that so I was 6 months in to being alcohol free. It's my 40th birthday. Opened the fridge, and my brain went, "This is where you pop the champagne." And I remember at the time being totally bemused, like, "Hang on a minute, like I don't want to drink. Why have I just thought that?"
Mm.
It was so bizarre. But that to me was these is like the depiction of the old neural pathways that haven't worked their way out. So I'm kind of interested to see whether when I get into the airport and kind of in that, you know, well, I suppose so much is going to have changed actually that it might just feel very, very different anyway.
Airports are
And
they're only everything's green now.
green,
Yeah, they've just like inside of airports, everything's
what?
green. It's weird. They've just painted everything green over the course of the
What?
last few years. Yeah, I don't know
Oh my
what.
God. It's just incredible.
I know you're going to find
Oh,
out for yourself. Lots more has changed than that.
I'm very
Um,
excited about the green
no more
arts.
WH Smiths.
Got to make people feel much better about traveling, being
Yes.
surrounded by
Wouldn't that
green.
be great if they did paint the insides of all of airports green? That would be
What
cool.
now? I'm confused. What's
Yeah.
happening?
I like when you're playing gullible. At the beginning, I thought you did a good job because I thought, oh, I think she's actually falling for this. Um, I love it when you say something so outrageous and then people actually go for it. It's brilliant. Um, but yeah, well, it will be interesting. I mean, like it's one of those things, isn't it? I know, like you're not worried about it because I know that it doesn't mean anything, even if a thought or something did pop up. It's not like it's like oh, it's like the like you were saying about the champagne, right? It's but yeah, I'd be interested to find out. But my guess is that yeah, you might be surprised just how that doesn't happen, but we will see, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see. But how cool to be able to report back to folks like after all this time
Mm.
alcohol free, and this is what happens.
I
And
go on,
so
sorry.
go
No, no,
on.
no, it's all right. Shoot.
No, go
Finished.
on. You're about to say something really exciting. I could just
No, no,
feel my
I was
bones.
just gonna go off on one about how how different things now are. Like mine, going to airports for me used to be like stuffing as many cigarettes in my face as I possibly could do, or vaping myself, attempting to vape myself to death before going through the revolving doors of doom, and then going back out of the revolving doors of doom just to have another bit more, just to kind of top up.
What what
Go
about
on.
those bloody like if you in some
Oh, those boxes.
airports, those boxes that you can go in and smoke
Yeah,
in,
yes,
like
it
what a
feels like you're
fucking
in a
terrible idea that
feels like
is.
you're in a cage. I have been in one of those once in my life in Poland, I believe. Yeah, they have like a massive extractor fan, and you just have to stand there with like just feeling like an absolute tit just in this glass box. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, thankfully, I'd kind of knocked that on the head before most of that kind of came in or whatever. But or I just didn't go into the glass boxes because there was a bit of me that was like, I'll wait. But yeah, it was that, and then it would be I even back when I was a big drinker, I always used to be like, I do it, but I also used to be like, why are we drinking at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning? Like, this is ridiculous. Why do people do this? Like, you
Because
feel
the
like
bar's open.
death. You feel like death. Get on the plane and you're already dead by the time you get there. And for me, I never understood it. So I went on this stag do a few months ago. That was a flight as well. Look at me. I'm going everywhere to Montenegro. And oh man, like they were all at it at like God knows when in the morning or whatever. And I can just remember that so much of traveling used to be me like sitting against like a train, plane, or bus seat or something, with my head rolling around all over the show, with my eyes closed, like attempting to sleep because I couldn't be asked to read because I felt too shit and didn't feel like it. Didn't want to listen to music. Just wanted to basically go to sleep and turn the world off, but I couldn't do that either because I struggled to really sleep in those scenarios. So a lot of traveling was just like shit, basically. It was just fucking shit. And
Mm.
now it's it's like very different. So when I came back from America the other week, I did struggle to sleep a bit actually, and I was sleepy the next day, but I didn't have a bunch of hangover on top to have to navigate. But I really enjoyed reading and chilling, and I don't owe anybody anything. Like I know I don't owe anybody, and you know what I mean. None of us do, right? We can create stories where we think like we need to do this and all the rest of it. But there's something
Well, you do
about
need
that
to
kind of
entertain me for the full 10 hours.
well, yeah, exactly. Oh my God, well, it's gonna be fine. I'll figure out a way of making you shush in the end. I'm sure.
Shush.
We'll we'll but I love reading, chilling, talking, you know, even talking to the stranger that I've met some very, very interesting people on planes and had some really interesting discussions with people. Um, you know, and all of that's now open to me in a way that it wasn't really before.
Mm,
So I love that. That's that. I just wanted to, it occurred to me that how true that was and how visceral it
mm,
was for me to be able to share that in this moment. Eddie Craig.
mm. I love it. Well, I'm very excited about rediscovering it all because since I was a kid, my one of my biggest values has been adventure, and I've always loved traveling, hence why I got into international business. And I was very fortunate in traveling the world and seeing lots of places and doing it in style. But also that travel um, was, uh, so this all kind of started in my early 20s. And I used to suffer with anxiety quite a lot. And I was traveling, I was in a very big job for my age, and I was going to all these different countries and uh, holding meetings, traveling around factory. I was doing all sorts of stuff. And I've talked about this before. That's why I was just laughing. The whole like entertaining people, like with the caveat, I wasn't a call girl. I was just entertaining folks. Um, but very senior people, business owners, and what have you. And so my role, my responsibilities were very varied. And I was going to places like I remember going the first time I went to Singapore, and I had like no clue where, other than I've got an address, like no clue where I'm going to. And I'd fly, rock up off the plane, go straight to a meeting, be presenting to somebody for an hour or so in a meeting, and then like off to try and get some sleep before getting up in the morning and then going to the next thing. And it was relentless. I mean, it was amazing, but it was relentless. And so whilst I was traveling, the two things that were kind of my companions were Valium and booze. So it was, both of those things seemingly helped to take the edge off the kind of the stress and the stuff that I can now see it very differently, but at the time it just felt like I was in a very stressful uh, situation. And I relied heavily on those two things. And so travel was very much, you know, just boozing all the way around,
Mm.
and fancy dinners and wine lists with folks and all of the stuff that you can imagine. And as you say, when you're kind of dumbing down the actual experience, then you're not there for it. So I'm very excited to rediscover it, because right now the
Mm.
thought of having some time to myself to do nothing, or to do something like read, or um, create waffles with you, or
Mm. Have
listen to
literal waffles.
we could just listen to our podcast.
That would
All
be
the
that would be weird, man.
Yeah, it would be weird, wouldn't it? But we could do that. There's all sorts of stuff we could do. So I'm very excited about that, because it's not going to be the, uh, this kind of rampage that it used to be of like, I used to kind of have this like, right, I've got to get to the
Mm.
airport and I've got to do this and do that and do the other. And so I thought that I needed some kind of dampener like Valium or booze or both, to be able to segue from one thing to the next.
Yeah, and then you had that horrible, like, a Valium sleep isn't, is not a sleep. But it's like you wake up from that and you're like
Oh
this is
God,
not like a
I
normal.
don't know how I functioned, like how I went and presented in meetings and stuff. And I remember I remember being so absolutely shot after this travel. And I was coming back from Australia, and I got on, I used to fly with Cathay Pacific. And back in the day, I was fortunate to fly first class with them.
I've never
And
done that.
my
God.
God, it is fucking amazing. The first time I went into a first class cabin, I think I just stood there with my mouth wide open for about 5 minutes. Everyone
And they
else is
started
settling in. I'm
shoving
like,
food and alcohol in
oh,
it.
yeah, incredible.
They were like,
Absolutely.
there you go. Yeah.
But at this point, I'm so well versed to what happens. So I went in and I got in and I was right in the nose of the plane. And you have like obviously like you've got a bed and then you've got a wardrobe and all of this stuff, like a massive space. So I got in, they give you these Shanghai Tang pajamas, put my Shanghai Tang pajamas on, made up my bed and everything, eye mask, and then they furnish you with booze right from the beginning. And I remember drinking this Bucks Fizz, like, but I was so tired, and I woke up and I just had orange. I had, like, bits of orange from
Yeah.
the orange juice. I was covered in it because what had happened was I got on the plane, sat with my eye mask on, my booze, my Shanghai Tang pajamas, and I promptly just fallen asleep and then spilled all the booze all over myself. And so then had to go for that leg all the way to Hong Kong, smelling like Bucks Fizz, until I could get a shower at Hong Kong. Um, but
What are those pajamas you're on about then? Are they
Shanghai
famous for
Tang,
something?
yeah, it's a Hong Kong brand.
See, I'd know that if I'd ever flown first class and gone
I
to
used to
Hong
have
Kong.
loads of them because you could keep them, right?
Oh yeah. I'm I thought it was the other week when I went to go and hang out with Scott. I got this little silicon. I wonder if I've got it in here.
Bag of goodies. God, you used to get some really cool stuff
This
on
this
Cafe.
I thought this was amazing. I got this with a pair of socks in it, some shit
Oh,
headphones like you get.
yeah.
Um, I felt like an absolute king with that, to be honest. It was a very good sandwich, I must say. JetBlue.
Right.
I don't know if anyone flies JetBlue. You can reach out and let us know. See if you agree with me. Fucking banging sandwich. The one I had was anyway.
Well, and I'll tell you what, you'd be me stood with your mouth wide open at
I don't
the
doubt it.
goodie bag that you used to get on Cathay Pacific. I don't know whether it's the same these days. You used to get little
Well, for the
slippers
amount
and
you're
all sorts.
paying, like
Well,
a pair of
yes.
bloody
But
pajamas is the least they can do.
yeah, yeah. But also the other thing is that because I was looking into, because I'm heading to Thailand and then we've got this Florida trip, and I was looking at the difference to fly business or first.
Oh,
And I have to say, it is fucking hideous.
oh, mate. Like,
Absolutely hideous. Not, it never used to be that expensive to fly. And you also used
do
to
you
get
mean
really
economy
cool
versus first or business versus first?
either. I mean, all of it is just
Right.
it's absolutely insane. I used to get all the way to Australia from London, first class, for like 4 grand.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would get a companion ticket. So then it'd be two. Wouldn't
Yeah.
get that now at all. Although, hang on a minute. So I was 20 something. So it was 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
things have gone up.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, go fucking figure. It's not the 80s anymore. Um, but it's
I'm
true.
really
I mean,
sorry. Can we edit that out?
I've never even flown business. Like, I can remember getting on the way to Australia when I can remember thinking, oh, this is the best thing ever because I got for the last 2 hours of my flight from London to Sydney, I got moved into a seat in business. I did think to myself, you could have done this like 22 hours ago. You
Yeah,
bastards!
thanks.
Just tease him for 2 hours. Just this is how it could have been. This is how,
Well,
but
I'll
it
tell
was
you
it
what.
was great.
Can you make sure that you dress appropriately, and then I'll try and get us bumped when we go to Tampa. But
Not that doesn't mean
you have
all
to
right.
look like a first class passenger, mate. You can't rock
Well,
up with you know.
challenge. Challenge. All right, I'll try and look like a first class passenger. I mean, I'm well cool. How do they fucking know that I'm not like?
I'll
Do they
tell them
not?
that
Do
you're
you
a
know? Oh,
rapper.
it's
I'll
fine.
say,
I've got it. I'll
do you
ask
know
them.
who
Do they not
I'm
know
his
who I am?
agent? Do you know who
Yeah.
this guy
Do you
is?
not know who I am? I am on a podcast called the President and Sober Podcast.
Yeah, should we show him the badge? Like this. Do you not know who we are?
Yeah, we'll get a special one made. We've massively just spent the last 10 minutes talking about plane travel, something that but what else? But yeah, sober travel on the whole. Hang on a minute. Let's reset. So yes, all of those things are very true. I mean, do you know what's funny though? We look at something like in a very real sense. We look at something like how much it would cost to fly first class, and yet there a lot of us are just like slowly pouring more money than it would cost to fly first class a couple of times a year into this alcohol thing, and just it's almost like we're always. I don't know why I'm doing a weird hand movement. We're always doing it as if
Stroking an
it's like I'm
imaginary
stroking it.
sheepdog.
Yeah, yeah, like I'm stroking a sheep. Um, oh lordy B, I was just gonna start doing it again. Um, there we are, and then it is funny how we do that. It's like we have different buckets for things in our head and things that we've got a wonky relationship or an addiction with. We always find the money for it, right?
Mm.
So the other thing is travel. Obviously you can do a lot more of it when you're not drinking, can't you? Because all of that money that you were spending on that shit that you were putting in your body that made you feel shit, you're not doing that anymore. So that's a win.
Mm, mm. One thing I am slightly not worried about, but I think I do need to consider is how do I cope with being hemmed in for 10 hours or so?
What do
How
you
long was the
mean?
flight?
What, on a plane?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you'll
Small
be
space, mate.
breathe. I mean, you'll be fine. I mean, spending 10 hours with me is like it's like spending 2 hours in the real world. Be over before you know it. Um, well, I mean, you're going to be like all of the things that will help you, like in any way, right? Breathe in. Like you can always flick on a movie. You can, look forward to the next sandwich. Go use the snack bar.
Snack bar. I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna have a kit, and in my kit is gonna be things like my noise cancelling headphones, number
Yeah,
one,
yeah, defo. Check.
some aromatherapy stuff, number two,
Boom.
a book, an actual book that I can, like I was about to say finger through, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
buy yourself a
Really?
special book. Buy yourself. So banging. I meant to. I did. Oh,
Playlist.
that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, no, I quite often allow myself to buy a book at outrageous prices in the airport bookshop because then when you've got that kind of like weird 45 minutes, I can go and have a look around and buy a special book to read on the way.
Special.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I reckon that you're going to have a fantastic time. Don't you worry.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to it. I am really the thing that I think is wonderful for all of us is the rediscovery of this stuff.
Hmm.
I think that's what I'm most excited about. Also, sitting next to you for 10 hours,
I
of
mean,
course.
who wouldn't want that? Rob sometimes probably doesn't want that. She's like, fuck that. She's like, let someone else do a shift. Um, yeah, and I mean, but across the board, when it comes to eating when you're away, getting more the mornings when you're away on holiday, not wishing the day away so that you can be in the bar. When it comes to, just paying for stuff, treating yourself, all of that stuff,
Mm,
like it's all a win. And yeah, I don't know. I've had so many holidays in the past where I've gone and I've basically gone nocturnal because I've like gone out the first night, got absolutely battered, ended up staying. I mean, that's not what we're going to be doing at this one, but um, I can remember going to Berlin with my brother a few years ago. We just literally blew the budget for like however many weeks in like one night, one
oh
night or
no.
something, and had like just went on some bloody mad bender, and then woke up at God knows when the next night, spent however many hours feeling terrible, and then it was like it was nighttime, and I mean in Berlin that's not a problem. Like you can, it's obviously just like it never sleeps that city. Um, but then you have to recover from it on the way back and yada 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 yada, and the holidays are not holidays at the end of the day. You get back and you need a holiday from the fact that you had some time away because you feel fucking terrible.
Mm,
And if you're lucky, you've got a day to get your head together before you got to go back to
mm,
work, right? Like if you're lucky, and if not, you got to just like roll straight back in. And all that's gone. None of that
yeah,
anymore. It's great.
yeah, yeah. I caught that Vegas trip. I totally destroyed myself. There's a picture of me coming back with basically huddled up over two seats with a blanket over my head
Mm.
for the whole flight back because I was such a mess.
Horrible.
And that was my time away from the kids. Like I should have been really well, I was enjoying myself, but it could have been a very different experience. So I'm very excited about well, I'm gonna miss the kiddos, but I'm very
Mm.
excited about having the time and being able to
Have they have they given you a list of gifts you need to bring back for them yet?
know that they're still in the phase of complaining that I'm actually going and not taking them.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean they'll shift from that to mummy, can I have
Mm.
this?
Mm. Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm getting
yeah.
blinded by the light. Look at this.
Blinded by that. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to go and do some souvenir shopping in Tampa. So if anyone's got any recommendations of where to buy souvenirs from in Tampa,
I
do
just
let
want
us know.
pancakes. That's all I care about. I just want to get some real decent, proper, fluffy American pancakes. So that man Scott, he let me down. We did have some good food and stuff, but we didn't have pancakes. So shame
Oh,
on you, Scott.
Scott.
I know. What a bastard. Can't imagine he'll ever hear this. It'd be great if he does just one day just turn on at the one
Randomly
time.
tune in.
Just like
Ah,
abusing,
bloody
just shouting
Scott.
abuse at him. Anyway. Right. Okay. I feel like there was some good stuff mingled with some ridiculous stuff, mingled with us having a chat, mingled with us having a bit of fun. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that. Um, and yeah, come and treat yourself. Come join us in that membership with some of that money that you're saving, and
Mm.
you'll get to listen to even more gems like this last half an hour, 40 minutes, or however long. I couldn't tell you how long this has been.
Oh, we're going to do that again. I'm always very good at guessing
Well, I mean,
the.
I'm not nothing. So funny because I on a previous episode I was like, I'm so good at guessing time, and then since then it's like, no, Sam, you're not good at
Well,
that.
that's not your job. And if you're in the Facebook group, what would be really lovely is because there's going to be a bunch of people in there that have had their, what was it called, FFT of
Oh,
travel.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let me know, hit me up with ideas for what I can take in my little, what did I call it earlier? Can't remember what I called it.
Don't know. Maybe if
Bag
you're
of
really lucky,
joy,
you'll get a little silicon bag like I got.
little silicone bag with a
People
sandwich
might
in
have
it.
suggestions for how to put up with me for 10 hours as well. Be interested to see
Yes.
those.
Yeah, two threads, please. One with ideas for what I can take with me. And number two, what I can do to uh what's the word I'm looking for?
Hope.
Silence Sam during the trip. And
Right, fair enough. I'd be interested to see that one.
I
Right.
promise I will report back on what happened. And we might be able to record as we go. Let's see if we can do
Yeah,
that.
we'll see. We'll try and do something like that, can't we? Or
We
maybe
could
even
record
go
hey,
live
we
together.
could record a fuckload of episodes to get us right through to the summer. If we just
Yeah,
did them like
we
back
also
to
need
back.
to have some time for chilling and stuff like that. So we're just gonna have to see. I'm just gonna have to see. I might just throw my toys out my pram and say no, not doing that.
I'll
Might not
find
as well.
I'll find guests on the plane.
Yeah, we can do some plane interviews. Right, I'm getting blinded by the light. Um, all right, team. Love you. Anything else to add?
See you tonight.
Oh
Be
yeah.
there or be square.
Yeah, don't be square. Love you.